just a very quiet epiphany moment when this journey has begun to really make sense. And this stilab, a single piece of rock, holds many of the elements that I've seen on my journey up until now, but here configured in a way that gives them a kind of sense, gives them a continuous historical narrative, which I suppose is the history of Ethiopia. The features on these stelae, marking the ancient burial places of Ethiopian emperors 2,000 years ago, have been consciously echoed down the years by the emperors that followed them. What I'm seeing at Aksum are continuous traditions taking the story of the Ethiopian kingdom back to the beginning of Christianity. But I still want to find evidence that the kingdom might go back even further, to the days of Solomon and Sheba. Yegalam has one more ancient artifact to show me. Wow, what's this?
We have a memorial stone inscription which was written in the beginning of the 4th century by King Ezana, the first Christian king of Aksumite kingdom.
So what's inscribed on it?
The message of the inscription is more about his military victories and more about his political power.
It's a proclamation, a kind of tourist information sign, telling visitors to Aksum about the might of the emperor. And it's multilingual, the inscriptions in the local Ge'ez language, still used in church traditions. It's in the international language of the day, ancient Greek, and it's in a language called Sabaean. Sabaean was spoken only for a brief time, and only in this part of Africa and southern Arabia. Historians think it died out around the 8th century, but it first appeared around 1000 BC. It's the language of Saba, the part of Yemen where the Queen of Sheba is said to have come from. This stone is from the 4th century AD, 1400 years after the Queen of Sheba is supposed to have reigned. It's not the Ark of the Covenant, but it does point me deeper into the past in my search for the kingdom's origins. It's thought that the kingdom of Aksum was a continuation of a civilization which had existed nearby. That's where I'm headed now. Just 20 miles away is the town of Yeha. It could be the Old Testament world I've been looking for. In this ancient town is a pre-Christian temple. There were worshippers here when the Old Testament prophets were writing. Over here, there would have been an altar. And it's quite a deep well beneath the altar because there would have been ritual sacrifice here. This would have been a place in which the blood would have been allowed to drain. An important part of Old Testament Judaism was making offerings in the form of slaughtered sheep and goats. And this may well have been a baths where people would have come to cleanse themselves. I mean, this building suggests all sorts of things. Not much is known about the people who built this temple, but archaeologists believe this is the oldest surviving building in Ethiopia. And it predates everything that we've seen up until now. And the quality of this brickwork, it just belies the fact that this building is 500 BC. That means it's older than the Parthenon in Greece, and centuries older than Rome's Colosseum. It echoes the Judaism of the Old Testament, the faith that the Ethiopian Orthodox Church claims was adopted here 1,000 years before Christ. And it echoes what the Patriarch told me at the start of my journey.
So we accepted Judaism, and then we accepted Christianity. Now it is 3,000 years old altogether.
But the most exciting thing about this temple is a collection of artifacts found inside it. They're now kept nearby in this small Christian church. And I think they might offer a final clue about Solomon, the Queen of Sheba, and the ancient kingdom of Ethiopia. Chris, good day. Thank you. I didn't know it would be like this. There are crosses and scriptures spanning many years of Christianity. Thank you. And there's an incense burner which doesn't belong in any church. It's been carved with the pre-Christian symbol of the crescent moon and the sun. Archaeologists think it dates from the 5th century BC. And from the same era as the burner are these stones, inscribed in the language of the Queen of Sheba, Sabia. These are almost certainly objects from the time of the Old Testament, and they show an ancient link between Ethiopia and Saba, the home of the Queen of Sheba. This takes us back to the very beginning. I mean, a lot of people talk about the Queen of Sheba, and here you're showing me a stone inscription which may well mean that all of that is true. It's pre-Christian evidence of the Queen of Sheba's language in the heart of ancient Ethiopia. It means it's just possible that the legend of her son founding Ethiopia's kingdom is based in fact. I wanted to find out whether there was any truth in the legend of Ethiopia's kingdom being founded by the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. In Ethiopia, separating legend from fact is difficult. The stones in the church inscribed with the Sabaean characters are estimated to be 2,500 years old, not quite the 3,000 years the church claims for its connection to the Old Testament, but not far off. And whilst there might not be proof of a blood connection to Solomon, there is a striking cultural connection to the world of the Old Testament. It's also striking that faith in this legend has lasted for centuries, closely tied to the unique traditions of the Ethiopian Church. I think it's endured because of Ethiopia's determination to resist the influence of outsiders and to remain independent. Ethiopia's emperors may have died out, but the kingdom in many senses still survives, and the language, in the people, in the history, in the traditions. It's an extraordinary history, a proud history, one that deserves to be better known.
We should have radio station, they think them enough with class. None of them can be with boss. We should have radio station, they think them enough with class. None of them can be with boss. Play good music, XXL Zone Radio. Boom.
Looking to buy or sell foreign exchange? Breaking Cambio is your best option for pounds, US dollars, Canadian dollars, and euros. We have the most competitive rates, whether you are buying or selling. Our branches are located in Montego Bay and Ocho Rios for your convenience. Call Breaking Cambio today at 940-1180 for absolutely the best foreign exchange deal. Paper Gold is Jamaica's #1 stop for all your foreign currency and money transfer needs. Try any of our locations: Kingston, Maypen, Old Harbour, or Portmore. Our well-trained customer service representatives await you with the very best rates on all major currencies. Plus, we do money transfer within Jamaica and to any destination worldwide. Our telephone number is 977-3218. Call us today.
SupermarketJamaica.com is Jamaica's largest online store. With over 40 local suppliers, you can choose from a wide range of family and household products, ground provision, and fresh produce. Living abroad? Instead of sending money home, visit our online store at supermarketjamaica.com. Shop in easy convenience from anywhere in the world. We will deliver to your family anywhere in Jamaica. Supermarketjamaica.com. We're just a click away, or you can give us a call at 1-876-384-0355.
The Union Jack is lowered, and the new flag of Jamaica waves.
Everybody is in fear, everybody is in a panic because we have been victimized. We have not known what is going to happen to us. We are suffering.
Yeah, man, the wickedest fight Rasta get in Jamaica was through the caravan thing.
What a war to bust a cabinet singing what a war. The what a war to bust army cabinet singing what a war. Bust a man thief come blind now. The second one come dead now. And Mr. Shearer come shear out himself.
Yes, we are standing up on the chanters. Drummers, I have been the drummers. Step forward, please, make us start. The order, no. Drummers, chanters, make us start the meditation. I hear the power of his madness, make us hear and give reverence to Haile Selassie.
I was beaten, sent to prison without a cause.
Well, we tell God now. It is a very long story.
I confident the power of Haile Selassie Rastafari to deliver out of the hand of this wicked system in Jamaica.
We apologizing for what did take place on Rasta 1963. But apology can be empty and just a word used. Where's the recompense?
Yeah.
While Jamaica is arguably one of the most beautiful places in the world, it is also beset by a per capita murder rate rivaled only by Colombia and South Africa. Most observers attribute the high rates of murder and violent crime to the various failures of the Jamaican economy and the development of political partisanship during the mid-20th century. As the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party built their constituencies, political gangs developed to intimidate voters and cement political garrisons. Leaders of these gangs maintained close links with politicians, creating a situation that would later become known as political tribalism.
I saw men from Tivoli go to the police vehicle, park before the Tivoli court, and throw a bomb inside. The vehicle exploded and caught fire.
To fully understand the story of political violence in Jamaica, we also have to understand how Jamaica's most iconic community, Rastafarians, were demonized and persecuted by the Jamaican government in the early years. And for many years, Rastafarians were concentrated in a community called Bakawal. This community was adjacent to Coronation Market, the largest market in Kingston. In 1966, Baka Wall was raised by then Minister of Development and Welfare Edward Siaga, who sent bulldozers to destroy the ramshackle dwellings that had been erected, ultimately replacing all the residents with supporters of the ruling Labour Party. Rastafarians were dispersed to other areas of the country where many had already taken up residence in rural outposts and hilltops. Some in Jamaica consider this dispersal to be the single most formative moment in the movement, but it was preceded by a string of persecutions. Principal among these persecutions was the Coral Gardens incident, also known as Bad Friday.
My birthday name is Isaac Wright. Born 1935.
My name Enid. Empress Kinestia. Yeah, you come out today. You feel it out?
Over hills and valleys and plains. My birthplace is Somerville. My post office is Cambridge. I went to Bickerset at school, which I get great knowledge. But you will loyalty, will loyalty, will loyalty.
My name is Figmore Alvaranta. I come to the Rasta movement in 1936 when I saw a photograph with His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie.
When you know the youthful days coming up, I was moving with a Rastaman, and I hear him speaking of Haile Selassie as a returned Messiah. And it's by true millet then, cause the Ark and the Covenant to trot from Jerusalem unto Ethiopia, guided by the Archangel Michael. So we acknowledge the divine consciousness of His Majesty, and we look upon the coronation of His Majesty. 1930, we coronate as King of Kings and Lord of Lords, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, and we know that that is the title that the Christ must return according to Revelation 19.
When the movement was founded in the 1930s, going back to Africa was one of the central tenets of the movement. And the reason why they didn't agitate on it at the time, in that first decade, was simply because they had a bigger task, namely to convince people that Haile Selassie was God. Because if you convinced people that Haile Selassie was in fact the Son of God or God Himself, then the whole question of repatriation, of returning to Zion, the seat of His Majesty's power, would follow, I think, logically.
The system was very cruel to anyone who did not conform or did not seem to conform to their thinking. When it happens at school, it happens in the workplace. So you began to see the different types of abuses and I would say extreme fear for the unknown. How dare you question the status quo? And that basically was what Rastafarians were doing.
One time, according to how the government looked at it, Rastaman was like, worthless and, people never look at them as upful and conscious people. So, police would have just harass you for nothing at all,
The truth and fact, Rasta was like a
a species in Jamaica where we have to stay on the edge of society. You can't stay both in the hills. You can't venture too much in the city and town. They don't want to see you. Because they figure say God brings certain light to the people.
My name is Selborn A. Reed. I'm an ex-Jamaican policeman, retired detective inspector. I recall in my own growing up, Rastafarians were not accepted per se as ordinary citizens. Eventually I joined the force, and I recall that in our shooting range, the targets were oftentimes the image of a Rastaman with locks placed there, and in our mind that was the look of a criminal. And so we would use those images as targets.
If for any reason, if you catch a little weed and you go to jail and you watch that, the first thing that I do at you,
my observation of how the security forces treated Rasta, that for me was the biggest deterrent, It wasn't, I could deal with my father like forsaking me because I know it would come around eventually. I could deal with people in the community who think that, well, alright, from you step up to the fatal Rasta, this is the end of it. But you see, the way the security forces treated Rasta, it was like not a very attractive thing.
The first tribulation and the Rastafari movement in Jamaica was 1950, when a man by the name of Wappy King go on the Palisades Road, which is the Norman Manley Airport Road, and there was a Chinese girl and a Chinese boy on the beach, and he killed the boy and raped off the girl and threw the girl in the sea thinking she was young, and then he ride up and leave her. When she get rescued, she told the police that it's Rasta because the guy have on him beard, but he didn't have on no ear on him head. He was a rascal, and this guy of Rasta. So when him doing wickedness, he go shave off. So there was a man who saw him coming from that way on a bicycle and know that the guy is that kind of guy and see him shave off him dead. So he report to the police that guy. But the girl said, while him and her, he must be what him being raping, she covered the face, which have a whip mark in her fingernail, mark up her face. So everywhere them say Rasta, them take knife and cut off her head off her face.